Welcome to What If, So What, the podcast where we ask what's possible with digital and figure out how to make it real in your business. I'm Jim Hertzfeld, part of Perficient's digital strategy team, and today we're going to take a departure from our regular show to share my interview with Abe Ancer. He has a great story, and I hope you get a lot out of it. There are a lot of great sports podcasts out there. This is not one of them. This is a show about the intersection of business and technology, where brand and experience and innovation are changing the way we all work and play. And I'm excited about our guest today, someone who is literally mixing the two, quite literally, as you will hear, pro golfer and entrepreneur Abe Ancer. Hey, Abe.
Hey, Jim. How's it going? Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us. I'm really excited about having you here, and I know you're doing some pretty interesting things, both on and off the golf course. So I think many people know you as a golfer. My golfing friends, those who follow the tour, know you well. I think there are a few out there, some other aficionados that might know you as the Tequila guy. So you helped start Flecha Azul. Tell us, just to get us started, like how did Flecha come to be, and where did that partnership start and that idea, and why did you get into it?
Yeah, that's a pretty cool story. So right after I graduated from college, right, we all have those terrible stories from college that drinking tequila, and that's all you can remember. That it was definitely the tequila is definitely what got you, right, feeling terrible. And so I kind of dove into that, and I got really into tequila right after college. And a good buddy of mine, which he was much older than me, he's probably 54 years old, so he got a lot of experience with drinking.
A lot more.
And especially with good quality tequila. And so I was hanging out with him, and he got me into this bottle. At the time, this was 9 years ago. And we had a great time just talking about it, and we actually finished the bottle, both of us. And I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be terrible tomorrow. And woke up, and I was actually, I wasn't like 100%, but I was good to go. I went and worked out, and then I went to play golf, and I was like, wow, that was not what I was expecting, after all those memories from college and before.
Bad experiences,
yeah. Exactly. So I really got into it. I started really researching and falling in love with the process. It takes a long time to get the actual juice in the bottle, if you do it right. There's a lot of shortcuts now, and we try to stay away from that with Flecha. But some of my first years on tour, I met Aaron, who is my compadre, my partner in Flecha and other businesses that we have started in a pro-am. It was in Fort Worth at the Colonial. Now it's the Charles Schwab Challenge. Mm-hmm. And we just got randomly paired together, and we started talking about tequila. He's Mexican as well, and successful businessman, and still pretty dang young. He's in the late 30s, and he's done a lot of really cool things in the entrepreneurial side. And he pretty much woke up my entrepreneurial side and started thinking of just beyond golf, because I was just all about golf. And we started talking about tequila, going back to Flecha, and he's also a big time tequila drinker and just loves the culture. Also being Mexican helps with that. And we started talking about it, and we said, well, let's give it a shot. And not long after that, we started the whole process. This was probably a little over 5 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So we assembled a team. I had really good connections in Tequila, Jalisco, where we make our tequila. And long story short, we launched 2 years ago, and we've been going strong.
That's a great story. And I watched a video, and I love this quote. I actually wrote this down. You, if you remember saying this, there's a reason everybody has a bad tequila story. That's because there's a lot of bad tequila out there, which I thought sort of indicated people who just thought they were making bad choices, and maybe the only bad choice was choosing the wrong tequila. It's kind of what I'm learning.
It also doesn't help when you already had either beer, wine, or whiskey, and then
Right.
you're mixing all these things. And then you have, at the end of the night, you have just really bad tequila. It's not gonna end well. So
Yeah, right.
I like to just really sip on tequila and just not really add any sugars or anything like that.
And just be smart about it.
Yeah, and this has helped me. I have a good time, but I wake up and I'm ready to go. I'm not saying I'm a big drinker, because I still have to be fresh and work out and everything. But I just fell in love with the whole process and culture and
Yeah.
doing and bringing to the table a tequila that is additive free and is made a traditional way.
That's great. And I know that there are a lot of elements of just sort of authenticity and the history and the story of tequila overall and understanding and appreciating the cultural aspects of it that, a lot of people don't understand. I think that is valuable to a lot of brands out there as well, whether it's tequila or bourbon, or if it's a, almost any product, fashion product or culture that sort of gravitates around maybe a make and model of a car. So I love those elements then that you seem to be bringing out. One of the things that struck me when I was learning about your backstory made me right away. I was thinking of Mark Wahlberg, because I think the two of you both very humble beginnings, found some success in different ways. I love your story, how you were almost an underdog. I want to say it. I don't know if you've ever been referred to that way, but
Always.
yeah, I love that. And I think a lot of people love that.
I love that role.
Yeah, it's the underdog coming from behind, people betting against you. You get the chip on your shoulder to prove them wrong. I love that. I picked up on all those things. So, now you're partnering with Mark Wahlberg around Flecha. And I was thinking about a lot of this is sort of building a personal brand. And I was wondering if that sort of crossed your mind. As you and Mark partner more together, is that backstory is something that you feel is kind of bonding you guys? Is that something you share as part of this venture from a branding perspective? Someone you're looking to follow as well as partner with?
No, absolutely. And that's why this partnership just came so easy, and it felt like it was meant to be and organic. And I've known him for a little while just through golf and pro-ams and all that. But when we started talking about this project, I just really liked the way he thinks and how he goes about things. He's a grinder. Nothing has really come easy for him. I mean,
Yeah.
He's extremely popular now, obviously, but he's worked his butt off to get work to where he's at. Just getting to know him, and just we share a lot of the same beliefs, work ethic, and I really like how he goes about his life. It was really exciting when he tried Flecha, and I mean this was a long time ago. I know the partnership was just announced, but we've been talking for a long time.
Yeah.
And he was really adamant about, hey, we're not changing the narrative here. I'm not gonna be coming out and saying this is my tequila and I've been working on this project forever. I mean, this is you and Aaron. I truly believe in you guys and the product itself, and I just want to push you and be part of the team and cut a nice check for some equity in the company. And that's really exciting because now, I mean, you're getting a lot of celebrities going into the liquor business. And for the most part, they're just approached by big companies. They're like, you'll be the face, you'll get this percentage of the company, and let's go.
Right.
And this was a very different way of doing things. And I like that because we don't want to be lying to the public. We want to just have something authentic and traditional, and it just happened to work out that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've noticed the same thing in sports world. There's endorsements forever, sort of celebrities putting their name behind something. I actually was surprised that the singer Bob Dylan has his name on a bourbon. It's actually pretty good, but it's if you know Bob Dylan, it's called Heaven's Door. But I'm not endorsing. Yeah. I'm just I was surprised to see that. I wonder how involved he is. I mean, you really seem to be pretty hands on. I'm curious, just around that, what are some of the things you've learned? I mean, I'm picking up that, the work ethic and grinding is, a big part of it. But, what have you learned that you didn't expect when you're trying to build that brand, or even some of the other brands you're involved in, Black Whale and Ombre? Like, what are some things that surprised you along the way?
Well, there's many things that I've been obviously surprised, but there's so many things to start a company from zero. I mean, for me, I'm on the golf course a lot, right? This is my number one priority is to get the ball in the hole.
Your day job.
My day job, yeah. But just having a good team and loyal people around you that you can trust, and knowing exactly what you're good at and not try to do something that you're not good at for somebody else. So I think we have a great team assembled in Flecha and Black Whale and Ombre, another company we're starting here soon. It definitely hasn't been easy, and we've learned a lot during these years, but it's definitely having a team. I feel like we can definitely get better in a lot of things, but for the small period of time that we've been with these companies, I feel like we have accomplished definitely a lot, and we have a really good team assembled, which is, for me, is the biggest and most important thing is just making sure you get the right people in the right places.
We love those stories. There's a book, it's been out a while, called Good to Great, and they talk about getting the right people on the bus, right? And then figuring out what seat they sit on. We use that phrase all the time. So I love to hear that. Sometimes there are no shortcuts. There's not an easy button, but something we talk a lot about on this podcast is the value of people and leadership and empathy and authenticity, and it sounds like all those things are coming together for you. What did you sort of learn from your golf career? I know, I think I know the answer here. I think I'm going to guess the answer. I'm not going to guess it out loud, but I'm wondering, what did you learn from, your time, when you were just a very young kid, learning the game and sticking to it? I'm answering your question for you, putting the time in. Like, what did you learn from golf that I think it's really kind of driving your business career?
Yeah, well, for me, it was never easy. Like I said, I was never the superstar at any level. Well, maybe 1 year when I first got to college and I played junior college for a year, I happened to have a really successful year there, and then I went to transfer to Oklahoma. But before that and after that, I was never, like I said, the superstar at any level that I played golf. So I always had to work really hard to just keep up and keep getting better. And I was always being able to do that, but it never felt easy. Like, oh, I'm really good at what I do, and I can just kind of chill and I'll be just fine. I always felt like I had to put a lot of work to just keep up with these guys and hopefully beat them. So I just transferred that obviously to business. It has never felt easy, but I love the grind. I love staying active, keeping my head spinning, and how can we make something better? How can we just be better at what we do? And I can't have something not work. It just it drives me nuts. So if something is not working, I nonstop try to figure out and call someone or figure something out to make it work. But it's just mainly just the grind, and I'm never satisfied also. So in golf, even if I have a great round, I always look at the things that I could have done better and just make sure I know that and implement it to the next. Obviously, you got to look at the things you've done well so you don't beat yourself up. It's just having that balance. Having that balance is very important, both in golf and in business.
What about technology? I go right to this scene. I'm going to go way back. I think it was Rocky IV, and Ivan Drago, and he's got this lab, the Russian lab, and they've got all this technology, and he's wired up. And I don't see you in that role, but how does technology play a role in your golf career? Are you out there is it putting the time? Is it, how much is it self-reflection and practice? And is there a sort of an analytical side to it, or a sort of a digital side to analyzing your swing or looking at statistics? How does that play in, if at all?
Yeah, there's so much technology now in golf, and it feels like every day something new comes out. But there's all these machines, TrackMan and Foresight and Flight Scope and all this stuff that it's crazy how accurate they are, and how much information you have at your fingertips when you hit a shot, and you have club path and the spin rate and the swing speed and just absolutely just everything. So I like to keep golf very simple. So I stay away from the really, really analytical stuff. I like to look at how far the ball carried. I like to keep it very simple, unless I'm testing out new equipment, new driver or wedges or whatever it is. I get on those machines to make sure the spin rates and the yardages and everything is perfect. But there's definitely a lot of guys out there, every single time they're on the range, they have all these machines, and I like to keep it pretty simple, very traditional in that way. So I don't like to kind of cloud myself with too much information. So I use them when I need them, but not all the time.
I could see that really kind of getting into your head a little too much. I was never a great golfer. I was an adequate golfer, but when I had a lot more time to do it. And I remember if I had a good shot, I knew it right away. I don't know. I just felt it, right? And that's the best I could do. And I was just trying to enjoy myself. I wasn't trying to make a living either. Hey, I'm wondering, when do you get to play a robot? I just had this brainstorm. Somebody's going to build a robot golfer. It's going to have all that data, and I could see that match in our future someday. I don't think people would watch robot golfing. Yeah. They might watch robots fighting.
Robots fighting for sure.
Yeah, but robot golfer, maybe not so much.
I've never really thought about it. I know they have some robots hitting, big equipment companies have robots to test their new equipment, and it puts a perfect swing on it or whatever, but actually like going out there and walking and hitting a shot, and then I mean hitting the next one, because that robot is just stationary and it's like just this big machine.
Right.
But
Right.
I don't know, that would be pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of scary, but it'd be pretty cool.
Well, there's some pretty scary robots out there. They're like, running upstairs and dancing, and it's a matter of time. But they're not going to start a tequila brand. I can tell you that. So
I hope not.
Yeah. It would just be made of motor oil, right? Loop, but it'd just be for other robots. So one last question, Abe. But what advice would you give to, let's say, a small brand or even an established business? I mean, we work with a lot of very large companies that are trying to innovate in small ways, and maybe with a small sub brand or a small department, or an innovative new product. I mean, what advice would you give to sort of the business world listening, who are trying to grow and break in or break out?
Well, for me, it's just obviously believing in your brand and being extremely passionate about it, because you wouldn't mind putting in the work. If you're just doing it for the money, and I think it's going to be tougher. Not saying you can't, but I just feel like if you're passionate about your product or whatever you're bringing to the table, it would be a lot easier for you to grind it out and put in the hours and just get out there. Don't be scared. I know there's a lot of moments when you feel like you don't know if you should take that jump, and I feel like just try to get on there and don't be scared. I mean, you're not gonna find out if you don't, right? So
Right.
do that and surround yourself with really good people that are in your best interest. That's my best advice.
That's awesome. I throw your heart off a cliff and you'll have to jump.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Abe, thanks for taking the time out and talking with us, and good luck in your travels and on the tour and with Flecha and your other brands.
Thank you so much, and appreciate the invite.
Thanks for listening today, and best of luck to Abe at the Masters this weekend in Augusta. I hope you tune in again when we'll ask what if, so what, and most importantly, now what?
You've been listening to What If, So What, the digital strategy podcast from Proficient with Jim Hertzfeld and Kim Chopek. We want to thank our Proficient colleague, JD Norman, for our music today. Subscribe to the podcast and don't miss a single episode. You can find this season along with show notes at proficient.com. Thanks for listening.